far, we've seen a game end on a pitch clock violation this spring. We've also seen a 2 hour, 4 minute game, as well as many games that have finished under 2.5 hours. I will say, I've heard some good arguments behind the principle of the pitch clock, but I still stand behind the fact that the clock itself is the biggest joke to the game of baseball that there can be. Just get rid of the stupid thing, let the umpires police it accordingly, call it a day. All right, everyone, welcome back to part four of our series of one player each team should extend or re sign before opening day 2024. Today, we're covering the teams that finished fourth place in their divisions last season. And once again, I will give my contract offer to each player as if I was the front office. It may seem like I'm lowballing in some cases, but I'm just being realistic to how the respective team would go about negotiations. Or at least I think I am. I don't know. I don't work for the front office. Anyway, let's just jump into the video. Up first, we have the surprise team, Baltimore Orioles, who narrowly missed the playoff berth last year after improving their win-loss record by 31 games. And the Orioles have plenty of candidates eligible for this, but I'm going with the urgent player they should extend, and for me, that's actually Anthony Santander. Santander has been a crucial piece to the Orioles offense and has broken onto the scene over the last two seasons especially, and he's a power hitting switch hitter on top of that. Santander is currently 28 years old and will be a free agent after next season, and he may not be high on the Orioles list as far as offering contracts to, but Santander has also rode the rebuild out. The fact that he's still in Baltimore makes me think the Orioles at least owe him a conversation, if anything else. In his career, he's only a 245 hitter with a 755 OPS, but in 4 seasons, he only has 363 strikeouts and 113 walks. So for a guy that, hits for power, that's pretty solid still. I think he also runs into some tough luck with balls in play, and I think with shift limitations in place, I wouldn't be surprised to see his average go up at least. He has 82 home runs to his name as well. Very respectable for a brief time. My offer to Santander is very affordable, 5 years, 77 million. It would make him a free agent at 34 years old. Santander also figures to be their primary DH starting this year, and I think this type of contract is more than fair and safe. I'm also including an opt out after 3 years and a club option for a sixth year because if he is indeed playing well and he feels like he deserves more money after 3 years, absolutely, he can do that. But if the Orioles want to keep him around, they can also extend him at that point, and try to keep him around for the long run. Overall, it's a safe deal. Orioles can still extend the core of their guys coming up as well. So I think they should make this deal. Up next, we have the Arizona Diamondbacks, who also had a solid win-loss improvement last year, 22 more wins than they did in 2021. The Diamondbacks are nearing their expected run of success, and to me, now is the time for the team to start signing the guys they want to be part of that winning culture. There's one guy, however, that absolutely urgently needs to be extended before anyone else, and that is the team ace, Zach Gallen. Gallen will be 28 on August 3rd, and aside from his 2021 season, he has been a wizard on the mound, posting 3 seasons with an ERA under 3 and getting some love in NL Cy Young talks last year. Again, though, Sandy Alcantara flat out won that award, and rightfully so, but Gallen had his career breakout year last year, and as long as he keeps doing that, the D backs need to throw the book at him. In 184 innings last year, Gallen posted a 2.54 ERA, an NL best .93 whip, and struck out 192 batters while walking 47. Gallen also threw a club record 44.1 scoreless innings during a stretch in August through September, and won a career high 12 games because his offense finally gave him some run support. My offer to Gallen to me is still very low, but because he's getting older, I think it's at least a safe start. But by all means, this is the bare minimum I'd offer him. 6 years, 88 million, buying out his final 2 arbitration years and extending him 4 years past what would be free agency. But I'm including incentives for postseason appearances and finishing top 5 in Cy Young voting. I'm also including an opt out after 4 years because I understand this is a low offer. Um, and to be honest, the Diamondbacks may want a way out of the deal if anything does go wrong. Not saying it will, but an opt out at 4 years is still reasonable. And plus, the Bumgarner deal will be over after next season. The Diamondbacks will have money available to spend. I think now, if it before 2024 opening day, is the time to get Gallen extended. Up next, we have the Miami Marlins, and like the Twins, I'm going with the player that was swapped from Minnesota to Miami in the Pablo Lopez deal. Luis Arraez. Arraez, dare I say it, is the best hitter in baseball currently. Miami got a fantastic hitter who is only getting better, believe it or not. The only reason he's flying under the radar is because he doesn't hit home runs, although he did hit 8 last year. I know it's not a lot, but maybe he's starting to tap into it a little bit. We'll see as he improves. Arise was the AL batting champion last season with a 316 average and a 795 OPS. He had a fantastic year for the Twins team that choked hard at the end and missed the playoffs. He's also only 25 years old. He's not even in his prime yet. He's just getting started. In his career, he also has more walks than strikeouts, 137 to 131 respectively, and he has a 314 career average to go with it. This guy's a freak at the plate, and if he adds power to his repertoire, he's going to be unfair. It's going to be unfair how good he will become. My offer from the Marlins would be 7 years, 90 million, with an opt-out after 4 years and a club option for an eighth season. 790 is still lowballing it for a guy like Arise, but he's also young. I think it's a solid first contract. It's still pretty team friendly to go with it. Plus, he can just prove that he's worth more than that down the stretch. I also think the Marlins under Kim Ung are going to be more aggressive in the future, trying to keep guys in town so that they can actually try to compete. I know it sounds outlandish, but I'm allowed an outlandish take every once in a while. I think this is the guy they need to lock up to at least build somewhat of a winning culture. Up next, we have the Texas Rangers, and for this one, I'm actually going to their bullpen and offering an extension to closer Jose Leclerc. If you remember, the Rangers had Emmanuel Clase, but they traded him to Cleveland, and Leclerc is likely going to be their closer if they are to keep him long term. Plus, the Rangers have been busy in free agency the last 2 years. I couldn't think of anyone else the Rangers would likely extend a deal to at this point. Leclerc is currently 29 years old, in the peak of his prime, and he will be a free agent after next season if the Rangers don't pick up the club option. Leclerc has also quietly been one of the better relievers in baseball since he broke into the big leagues. He has a 3.12 ERA, a 1.204 whip across 229 games, 317 strikeouts in 236.2 innings pitched. It's crazy he hasn't been their primary closer the last couple of years with those numbers. I'd love to see this guy get an opportunity. I hope they give him a chance this year because I think as they try to be competitors down the stretch, having an arm like him back there is going to make them a fierce force. My offer to Leclerc is 5 years, 45 million, voiding out the club option for 2024 entirely. It may seem low for a guy like Leclerc. He is approaching 30 though, and he's a bullpen arm. If he gets hurt, unfortunately, it may be his demise down the stretch because he's an older reliever. It's a very team-friendly contract for a team that has been spending the last few years. I think the Rangers can more than afford this. Up next, we have the Detroit Tigers, and like the Rangers, I'm going to their bullpen and offering Jose Cisnero an extension. Cisnero is the team's most established reliever right now, and he's trying to make a bid to be their closer for the next few years, especially as they try to get back to their winning ways. Cisnero is 34 years old right now, but he's been durable the last 3 seasons with Detroit, posting a 2.94 ERA and 116 innings pitched, a 1.28 whip with 119 strikeouts and 60 walks. He can be wild, but he keeps the ball in the yard. Like Devin Williams of the Brewers, he's a maniac, but Cisnero has only allowed 7 home runs the last 3 years and over 115 innings. That's nothing to shy away from. Especially in today's game, you need pitchers that don't give up long balls. And yeah, he does walk. He does walk guys, but that 294 ERA is incredible regardless. My offer to Cisneros is very simple. 3 years, 27 million because he's older, but I'm acknowledging the resurgence he's put together since 2020. And if I'm the Tigers, I want this guy being the leader in that bullpen. Plus, he's a free agent after this season, and I think this is one of those cases the Tigers need to get this deal done before the season ends, or else he might actually sign somewhere else. And if they lose Cisnero, especially if he pitches like he has, it's gonna hang over their heads. Simple as that. And lastly, we have the Cincinnati Reds, and the Reds honestly just need to convince someone to stick around at this point. They're really high on catcher Tyler Stevenson, so that's who I'm going with. It's a shame because the Reds do have some great young talent, although nobody's really done enough for me to at least say they need to lock them down right now. Stevenson was plagued by injuries last year, but when he's on the field, he's good and he's going to be the Reds catcher of the future as long as he stays healthy. In his career, he has a 296 average, 369 on base percentage, and an 823 OPS slash line. 18 home runs in just under 200 games played. And for a catcher, those are great hitting numbers. And if he can keep replicating that down the stretch, he will be the best hitting catcher in MLB. I really do believe Stevenson will be great as long as he can stay on the field. And last year wasn't his fault. If I remember correctly, he had back-to-back hand injuries from getting nailed behind the plate and then getting hit while hitting. It was just unfortunate timing. There's really nothing you can do about that sometimes. My offer to Stevenson is also very team friendly because it's the Reds. 7 years, 70 million, buying out his remaining 3 years of arbitration after this year, and extending him 4 years, which would make him 34 at free agency. He's currently 27 now. The Reds get Stevenson through his prime, give the fans some hope to come this way. I mean, Joey Votto's not going to be around forever. Plus, the Reds would have room on the payroll to extend other guys like Jonathan India and Hunter Green down the stretch. All right, thank you for tuning into today's video. If you like what you see, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you can be notified when we post new content. We have one more episode in the series that will be released tomorrow, so be sure to be on the lookout for that. And if you need to catch up on the series, by checking out the YouTube channel. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we will see you all in the next one.